Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet, President of Speedway Town Council. Today is April 24th, 2023 at 7 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and open up tonight's meeting. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go ahead tonight and introduce my far right, our town manager, Grant Kleinhens.
Good evening.
Next to Grant is Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
Far left, got our Councilor Keenan. He's filling in for Bob tonight. Thank you, Keenan. Next to him is our town clerk treasurer, Philip Faust. Next to him is Councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
And Vice President is Councilor Gary Pettigo.
Hello there.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. These minutes have been distributed of the April 10th, 2023 meeting. There's no changes or corrections, will be approved as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Next item up is Ordinance 1373. It's an ordinance amending the Town Code of Speedway. The chapters 9.6 relating to the rules and regulations for playgrounds and recreation areas. Tammy Smith, would you like to step up and...
Hello again. As mentioned at the last meeting, we're just updating the ordinance so the verbiage is a little more clear. We've tried to simplify a few of the things. Regarding animals and leash size, we just wanted to be consistent with the town's ordinance under animals. And then the hours, instead of dawn to dusk, we changed the verbiage to be sunrise to sunset, daylight hours only. We have a large issue with people being in the park after dark. And then we've also increased our fines for violations from $50 for each violation to $150 for each violation. So I believe those are the main points of updates for the ordinance.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve Ordinance 1373 as presented to us by Tammy Smith for second reading.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. I'll open up for any questions for Tammy. I just have one question for you, Tammy, in relationship. What seems to be some of the biggest problems currently in the parks?
The biggest problem are people being there after dark, I would say, is one of the biggest. We actually have four main big ones. Driving in the park. I don't know what possesses people to think it's okay to drive their vehicle into the park. Right by the playground, pulling up to the shelters, parking on the walking paths. They're not rated for vehicles, as well as the sensitive infrastructure underneath the park grounds. Let's see, occasionally the smoking and the alcohol that we see in there. We don't really see that as much as we used to, so I think that's definitely getting better. And then the vandalism. We actually 2 weekends ago had vandalism at Meadowwood Park's bathroom. They went in and kicked in the partitions, and they've got them back where they're functional, but they're off kilter a little bit and bent, and you know, just senseless stuff, unfortunately.
Could you let the public know, who should they call when they see anything going on in the parks that, that shouldn't be going on?
Yeah, obviously if it's an emergency or something really critical, they need to be calling 911. Otherwise, if they see people violating some of our ordinances, such as driving in the park or being there after dark, they can call the dispatch number and then they'll send out an officer to tell them to please leave or take care of it. So yeah, non-emergency dispatch or 911 if it's something major.
Is driving in the park, is that present in both parks or more so one than the other? Or?
It's more so in Meadowood. It is present in both, but mostly Meadowood Park. And, when Mike was still here last year, Mike put up a bollard there in the area that people seem to drive through Meadowood, right next to a sign that says no vehicles allowed. He put a bollard there on a Friday, and that Sunday, we caught on camera 5 youth in the area completely destroyed, literally took 5 of them, hitting it, kicking it, pushing on it, and bent the bolts, the 4-inch bolts that were down on the ground, bent those and tore that bollard up, just for the fun of it. Broad daylight, adults walking around, not one person called or did anything about it. So those are the frustrating things.
Yeah.
And it costs us money, and,
Yeah.
so those are the kind of the biggest issues.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of the second reading of Ordinance 1373, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
You very much.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, item 4, the approval of the civilian police chief employment agreement. Grant?
Yes, so just a real quick description. This is called a civilian police chief agreement, and that might seem odd, but our current police chief is retiring as of April the 29th, so therefore he's a civilian. It does not mean he cannot enact laws and manage and run the department, but that's why this agreement says civilian police chief. So this agreement was actually approved last week by the Police Commission. Just a couple of high points on what would be page 3 under compensation. Chief is paid the amounts as identified in the salary ordinance. That's an annual ordinance that comes before the council. He is foregoing longevity pay, which previously as a police chief, he would have received longevity. He forewent that. He does still have several benefits for a 35-year employee: clothing allowance, education incentives, funeral leave, family health insurance, designated holidays, vacation, and PTO days. He is carrying over 60 hours of PTO, that's personal time off. At this Town of Speedway, we do not have sick days. We give personal time off days. And if you use them, great. If not, you can carry them over. People do that typically if there's a surgery, or let's say you had a major health incident, you could use those days, so that is a benefit. The only other item that we are adding to this, because we will not be paying perf contributions to his retirement, we have agreed to pay $500 per pay to his deferred compensation plan. That'll be 26 times per year, as the same as what perf was paid. And that amount is actually a little bit less than what perf was paying, and he agreed to that amount. Other than that, I'll take any questions that you might have, but we do need to consider and approve this evening.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the civilian police chief employment agreement as presented.
I'll second.
Again, a motion and a second. Open it up for discussion. Any questions for Grant?
I want to make I think Grant said 60 hours on PTO.
60
and
days,
it's 60
sorry.
days, so I want to make sure that we're clear on that
Okay.
for this.
Sorry
approval.
about that.
No, you're fine.
I had the same point, and in that same bullet, it speaks to 2023 hourly rate. So
Yeah.
this agreement, do we have to renew this agreement?
No, it does not. It does not require a renewal. It's in effect until either party decides we want to part ways. He has to give a 30-day notice, but we can cancel that with the police commission at any time.
So in that bullet that Eileen mentioned, third page, 2/3 the way down,
Yep.
it has a 2023 hourly rate. Does it just automatically change to 24?
No, when we had the discussion, it was discussed with him that we didn't want him to be here for another 10 years and be paid out that time. So that's why we put in 2023 rate. Now, By way of practice, I'm not sure how we're going to verify that, but
Okay.
we can verify that. Maybe we should append or attach the current salary ordinance there. That might be a good way to
Okay.
take care of that, the 2023
So
salary
I'll amend my
ordinance.
motion to include that
Yeah.
the 2023 salary ordinance be
Yep.
append to this.
And I've got a copy of that here if anybody would like to see it.
Okay,
I'll second that.
thank you. And then just to be clear, I mean, we talked about this separately, but this contract is very similar to what we had in place with
Yes.
the previous police chief, who was also retired when he joined us many
Yes.
years ago.
Yep.
So this
Fairly standard
reflects
for our.
virtually the
Yep.
same language. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there no other further discussion? Go ahead and call for the amended version. To be approval on the civilian police chief employment agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of claims.
Thank you.
And Philip?
Couple of reminders from the clerk treasurer's office before we go to that is that we did get a new batch of Speedway flags in, so I know those are in high demand. Additionally, we will start peddler and vendor permits at the beginning of May.
You talking about the Town of Speedway flag? Thank you.
Yes, sir. I would ask for your consideration and approval of utility adjustments for the date range of April 8th, 2023 to April 21st, 2023, and claims for that same date range as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the claims, which was
Adjustments and
the
claims.
adjustments and claims as presented.
I'll second.
Again, motion and a second for the approval of claims and utility adjustments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up is the town manager report.
The only item that I have is I wanted to make sure to give a thank you to the volunteers who showed up, was it 2 weekends ago? For the Community Cleanup Day. We had about 42 or 43 who showed up. I think we had a couple of others that showed up that we couldn't document, but we cleaned probably 7 or 8 different main thoroughfares in the community. I know we worked together for an hour and a half, 2 hours on a section of High School Road, and we didn't make it very far because we cleaned a lot in a short amount of space, but really appreciated those who helped put it on. Keep Indianapolis Beautiful was a sponsor. We got gear from them, pickers, vests, bags. We're looking to do this probably twice a year, maybe in the fall and then the spring before the race every year. So Solid Waste Commission sponsored it as well, and many of them volunteered. So really great event, and it was good to see that many people show up. Beautiful day.
Oh, yeah, fantastic, and really appreciate the effort in organizing it and getting everybody's name down there. I think it's, it shows a lot of pride in the community when you get a lot of people out picking up trash during a weekend.
Yeah.
And I think that you can really tell the difference. And I know this, Rob and his street department, they try to pick it up, but 21st Street, all of the areas around town, it's tough really to keep people from throwing out all the trash bags, and especially with fast food. We noticed that there's quite a bit of fast food over there in the Founders Square area, so.
We found some interesting things, so
Yeah.
that was for sure.
Grant, Vince, and actually Philip and I had the opportunity to work kind of side by side with some other folks that were on the opposite side of the street. We were paralleling as short a distance as we went. Grant and Vince both found braided hair pieces and all kinds of good stuff.
And a couple Band-Aids,
Yeah,
really
they asked me
interesting
if I
things.
wanted it, but no. But no, it wasn't big stuff that you would necessarily see from the street when you're driving by or even walking on the sidewalk. Once you got down in the grass, it was amazing how much stuff was there.
Yeah.
And the time I was there, I think we had 5, black trash bags full.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it for my report.
thank you very much, Grant. Next up is a report from counselors. Eileen,
I have nothing this evening.
go ahead. Gary, Rex.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to mention the cleanup day, so I don't have to, but wanted to mention May 2nd is Election Day, and although there aren't a lot of contested races on the ballot here in Speedway, there is a very important topic, that being the school referendum. We've been fortunate to have not just good, but excellent schools in our community for decades, and that's because of the way that we pay our teachers well, and we keep our buildings strong, really in good shape, especially considering the age of our buildings. But these dollars go specifically to funding our staff, whether it be teachers and other support folks. The importance of that is can't be overstated. The number of the few number of students per teacher ratio, administrators students per teachers and administrators is very low. We believe as a community that and hiring excellent teachers really goes to educating our children really well. So I just would encourage folks to get out and vote on May 2nd in support of the referendum, so we continue to keep our schools strong. That's it.
Thank you very much, Gary. Vice President, Gary Pettigo.
Don't forget to vote on May 2nd, so ditto, and that's all I have.
All right. Report from Council's President. I just want to thank everybody that participated, and I would hope in the cleanup day that we carry that on through the rest of the year, even if we use smaller groups. I think it lends itself to that small town feel when you can make a big difference in your community just by going out picking up trash as you're walking around getting exercise. Also want to mention that we're ending April, moving into the month of May. It's going to be a very busy month. We've got a couple major races, and we've got a lot of activity going on Main Street and throughout the community. So it's just to be wise, make sure that everybody stay alert, and for those individuals that are not used to our stop signs and trying to cut across through residential areas and things like that, that comes with the month of May. And it's important that we keep all of our residents safe. And again, it's important that if you see something out there that is out of place, not only in the parks, but any place in the town of Speedway, please call and make the police department aware of what's happening or what you think that's going on. And usually if you don't have a good feeling about it, there's a reason why. And it's not going to correct itself. You got to make that phone call and make sure that our employees are out there, and then they can evaluate it. So that's all I have. It is 7:19. I'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.